Welcome to Washington, East to West Sports. I hit that button early. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Arldall. If you want to get involved in the show, go ahead and tweet us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at NastyBilly22, and Kevin is at C2Believe. That's SEA2Believe on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like our videos, tell us what you think of the topics we talk about in the comments below. It's been a while since we have been on this podcast. There's been some sporting things that have happened. You may have heard of a few of them. Let's start with Megan Rapinoe almost ending her career with an NWSL Championship. I wasn't able to watch the game. I saw some highlights. It was 2-1, and it's probably I don't know if it's the worst way to end your career, but it is a rough way to end your career, getting hurt in the seventh minute, I believe it was. And then her team almost kept it together and won the game, but lost 2-1 to New Jersey, New York, Gotham FC. Sean, did you watch the game, and what did you think of the end of Megan Rapinoe's career?
I saw 10-minute mark on, so literally they were just showing highlights of Megan Rapinoe getting hurt. So that was right when I started watching it, and then I did watch the rest of the game. I will say this: for those that don't watch it, and shame on, I mean, I don't want to say shame on Paramount because it's not really their fault, but shame on it not being on a bigger platform, because that was one of the best games I've ever seen of almost any sport. Like, for those that didn't see it, the goalie, literally the other opponent's goalie, had a handball in the last in 2 minutes of extra time. There's 6 minutes total of extra time. Seattle's down one. She has a handball outside of the box. It's an automatic red card. She's tossed. They can't sub in the backup goalie because it is literally a stoppage of play. They had to have her take off her jersey, put it on a defender, have a defender play out of position for a free kick right outside the box at the end of the game. And that's what it came down to. And the Reign couldn't capitalize. And then the game ended about 40 seconds later. But it was pretty intense ending to a game, and as close as you could probably get. Imagine having DK Metcalf trying to throw a game-winning pass. That's basically what Gotham was doing at the last minute, and they completed it. So it worked. So she didn't. Thankfully, it hit the wall. She didn't have to actually make the save, but it was pretty intense. So yeah, it was a great match. I wish they would show more on basic cable, since I don't really want to have 9 streaming services. 6 is where I'm maxing out at, and I'm I really don't want to get Paramount as well. But it was pretty fun if they could do a MLS deal on Apple, or that would be great, where you can get paid less and just get the soccer matches. I would pay for that. But getting a whole service is just a lot of ask, and I think that's a route they should go. But yeah, it was good. And it's well played soccer. So yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah, there
Sucks she couldn't
was
win, but yeah.
almost talks of Portland getting an NWSL team, but it seems like that has fallen through at this point, as well as the WNBA team. So hopefully the Portland can get an NWS. Oh no, Portland has the Thorns. Sorry, I meant WNBA.
Yes.
My bad, my bad.
Yes. I was gonna say Portland has the
yeah.
first.
So yeah, they almost got WNBA team, fell through. So hopefully they can get one of those. But I also forgot to put on there the Seattle Sounders are currently in the MLS playoffs, and they were able to win their first round series against Dallas FC. They played their the third game of a 3-game series, which they've kind of mixed up their playoff format a little bit. They won 1-0 at home on November 10th. Albert Rusnak's only first half goal was the difference. And so now the Sounders are moving on to take on LAFC on November 26th at 6:30 p.m. That will be at Lumen Field. And if you happen to have Apple TV, you can watch it on there. I'm not sure if the Sounders are still on Amazon. Maybe Sean can let me know about
No, they are
that.
not.
But
They are on
okay.
Apple. All of that stuff is on Apple TV, other than if they do a national game on FS1 or something like that.
Okay. Well, I have Apple TV. I was able to watch the first game that they were able to win 2-0 in Seattle. Weren't able to close it out in Dallas, lost 3-1. Rusnak had a goal, as well as Jordan Morris. So we'll see how this team does. But it looks like the Sounders, the number 2 seed in the MLS Western Conference, are looking good, especially after that first round, or sorry, failing to make the playoffs last year. But they did win the U.S. Open Cup. So this team looks like they are clicking on all cylinders and could be in the run for an MLS title. Sean, were you able to watch any Seattle Sounders?
I was able to watch all three of the games. So yes, and it was intense, but yeah, they won, and it was good. Can I say something, Kevin? Can like about this? So I remember last year, a full year, Matthew. You did not make this meme, and I will say this again. So but you did share it, and it was talking about the hype of the Seattle teams. It was had the Mariners made the
Do you have
playoffs,
it? You want to share your
the
screen?
Seahawks. I do not have it readily available. I don't want to call anybody out on Twitter who made it, but I mean, and I get being the hype, but then the Kraken made the playoffs and beat the Avalanche. The Seahawks made the playoffs at 9-8, and the Storm made the finals. And I said, if all of those teams missed the playoffs next year, I would not be shocked. And I was like, I would give it 1 out of 3, and I would say the Seahawks would make it. Well, the Mariners missed. The Storm got slaughtered. Kraken are not in the playoffs position right now, and we'll find out what the Seahawks are in the playoff position in 5 weeks. I just want to say process results. You need to understand what a team is and if it's lucky or if it's sustainable or if it's real going forward. And process will tell you if it's sustainable. Clearly, they were all not. So I'm just putting that out there. And I said the best two teams weren't even in the meme. And I said the Seawolves and the Sounders. The Sounders are the second place in the Western Conference, and the Seawolves lost in the semifinals to the eventual rugby champions. They were the second best team in the league, but they lost to the best team in the semifinals. So those two teams those two teams were good. Were very, very good.
To be fair, Sounders are in the playoffs, and the Mariners actually
I said this, the best two teams, okay. Sounders and Seawolves, were not on that thing.
Were a good team. They just had the unlucky fortune of being in the NFC of baseball.
And that's why I said if all of them were not. I didn't say the Mariners were a bad team. I just said that like if they didn't make the playoffs, I would not be shocked because of where they play.
Yeah, but yeah, sadly,
everyone's like, "Oh man, playoffs! It's gonna be great." I'm like, well, I mean, just look at the situation is what matters, not the blind results. Results tell false.
So, I mean, if you saw what they did at the end of August, I would have almost guaranteed they would make the playoffs, except they completely went polar opposite in September.
We'll talk about the Mariners, but let's put it this way: the Texas Rangers won the World Series. Spoiler alert: everyone's a little behind. If Cedric Mullins doesn't rob a 9th-inning home run in Seattle, the Rangers don't even make the playoffs. The Rangers were 2 inches away from being out of the playoffs. Like, keep that in mind. I just want to point that out. Like, because the Mariners had a tiebreaker and they win enough games, and the Rangers aren't in the playoffs.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of plays, but okay.
I mean, not a lot of teams though. Like, you couldn't say that about the Astros. You couldn't say that about the You couldn't say that about the Braves. There wasn't one play that kept them in the playoffs. There wasn't one game that kept the Brewers in the playoffs. There was one play that kept the Rangers in the playoffs.
Sure.
I mean, is that a debate?
Yeah, because there's like a whole bunch of other games and plays like that. You dwindle it down to one play, and
like there's not one play that kept the Blue Jays in. There's not one play that kept.
I don't know. I'm not fans of those teams. I don't follow that.
Matthew, they won. Matthew, the Baltimore was in the playoffs by like 14 games. The one play didn't keep them in or out of the playoffs. They won by more.
I mean, there's also the play if Tim Anderson doesn't get, beamed on running to third base, then.
Oh yeah, I know that, but I was just saying like because it happened at the end of the year and it's a robbing of a home run at the last, and I just always remember it because I'm like Cedric Mullins literally just like stole a game from us in Seattle, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, and that turned out to be a very big game that he like made a great play. And
so is Cedric Mullins public enemy number 1 in Seattle?
No, he just made a great play. I'm just like because it was a very bang like couple inches play, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like if he misses that play, we're in the playoffs. If he just misses that home run,
or if they just don't poop on themselves, they're in the playoffs.
Well, they pooped on themselves at the beginning of the year. The Bats did at least.
They pooped on themselves quite a bit. They're like your son. Your youngest.
I don't know. Like looking at the stats, they're a pretty good team. They just got, like Kevin said, they were a little unlucky. Didn't work out.
Well, Castillo also kind of got worked a little bit toward the end of it. But.
I mean, Castillo had a good year. He didn't have a good start. He didn't have a good
September. Let's put it like that.
It happens sometimes.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Seattle Kraken, as Sean already brought up. Solid transition, Sean. They are currently 5-8-3, 13 points, sitting at 5th place in the Pacific Division. So it is early, but not looking great so far. Sean, your San Jose Sharks are 2-12-1. What's going
We
on over there?
we're playing for Celebrini. We always were. Losing 2 games by 10 though was a lot. And then we got the Oilers coach fired though, so that was fun. We won the Tank Bowl. We beat the Oilers and they fired their coach. Not the next game because they weren't back from the road trip. They were nice enough to wait for him to land in Edmonton and then fire him. So they got to coach one more game after losing to the Sharks, which they won, and then yeah. But that's kind of a Ken Dorsey situation. We'll get to that later. But yeah, the Sharks suck. We knew they were going to suck. Other than 2 games, they actually pretty good goalie. Kraken, you should probably call them. So it's been rough, but it's expected. We want Celebrini. We're tanking. But yeah, Kraken. I wish you'd tank a little bit less because you were my team. I watched while my team is they're currently playing now. They're tied, but I was like, hey, I need a team to like root for to actually win games, and I obviously picked the Kraken. And yeah, not going great. Not fun. Not fun.
Well, Sean, have you been to a game yet?
I have not. I'll probably go. The Sharks just are down 2-1 now. Right as you say that, so we're right where we should be. Okay. I have not. I will go a little bit later. I will say I think we're kind of what we said here, and when we did our predictions, Matthew picked with his head and I picked with my heart. And Matthew said they wouldn't make it. I said they would. Ignoring all analytics, I said they would. Shot regression or puck luck is basically regressed to what it is, and they're not scoring goals. Shocking. They weren't that good last year. Got lucky. And Grubauer they were horrible at goaltending. And then for some reason, puck lucked into the playoffs, and then Grubauer turned into an absolute monster. And now Grubauer's not a monster. And we are where we are right now. That's what I said coming into it. Is can Grubauer carry you again? Because I figured the puck luck would regress. The answer has been no so far. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but the track record would say it probably won't. So I'm a little sad.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. It's early in the season. There's plenty of games left. It's only November. I went to the Kraken game against the New York Rangers on October 21st. Our friend Scotty was there. Shout out Scotty. He had an excellent time because the Rangers won 4-1. It was an early goal by Justin Schultz, and the momentum was on the Kraken side. And then, as has been the case in a few games, they'll take like a 1-goal lead and then just collapse and just forget how to play hockey. It's really weird to watch. Like they scored the first goal against Colorado yesterday and then just couldn't figure anything out. So very odd so far for the Kraken. Hopefully they get it fixed, but it's not looking great right now. But overall in November, not super worried about it. They've got a couple injuries. If Andre Burakovsky can stay healthy, he signed that 5-year deal before last season. He's played like 10 games. So that'd be great to see him out on the ice. Jordan Eberle is hurt a little bit. So hopefully the Kraken can figure it out here, but it's not looking good so far. We'll see how they do. They've got Edmonton on Wednesday. They host the New York Islanders on Thursday, and then they're at the Vancouver Canucks, who actually look pretty good this season. So we'll see how they do coming down the home stretch in November. But once football season ends, that's when hockey really starts here. So let's be real here. Once February rolls around, then we'll start worrying about that. But Kevin, who's your favorite Kraken player now that Morgan Geekie's a Boston Bruin?
Oh,
they're kind of taking shots at the Kraken too.
You know what? I'm gonna say it. Let's go with Dunn.
There you go. There you go. You're a defenseman. I always knew you had a defenseman mindset.
Can I say this? I went to a Tracy Americans game, and they still have a Morgan Geekie Seattle Kraken poster up.
Well,
are we really surprised though?
I know, but like, come on, you can just update it. Like,
let's trace it.
Do they have Brandon Carlo in the Boston Bruins jersey?
They do not. They don't. What? They just have a Geekie one.
What?
They had a Geekie one from the day he was drafted by the Kraken, and I think it's because like, oh, Seattle, and then it just doesn't play there anymore. They just left it up. I don't know.
Do they have Michael Rasmussen on the Red Wings?
Nobody. They only have a Geekie. Is their only poster with the Kraken, and it's not even up to date.
What is going on over there, Tri-City? I leave and things just fall apart, don't they? No, just kidding. Mm-hmm. No, just kidding. I don't know how are the Tri-City Americans doing? Does anybody know?
They're doing pretty well. As of right now, they're in a playoff position, but like like you said, it's pretty early. So they won yesterday. I believe they were up 5-1 in the first period and barely won 5-4. So they made it a little dicey, but yeah. Oh gosh, they're doing pretty good.
All right. Well, we'll see how the Kraken do. They did just get Brandon Tanev back. They've got Ty Cartier coming up, so we'll see how they do. Hopefully, they can kind of get it going here. But let's move on to a little bit of off-season stuff for the Seattle Mariners. And we knew it was going to happen eventually, but Nelson Cruz has officially retired. Yes, 4-1 out for Nelson Cruz. He has retired. One of the greatest Seattle Mariners of all time. So really just pour one out for Nelson Cruz. But other news is former, I believe, bullpen coach Stephen Vogt. Is that correct?
Vogt.
He was named the new Cleveland Guardians manager. Is this of any relevance to either of you guys? Kevin?
Not really. No.
Sean?
I mean, I hear everywhere he's ever been. He's a great, he was destined to be a manager. Great vibes guy. That's largely what managers are in charge of in baseball now. Nerds took over. They're basically the vibes in the locker room, and he's great at that. And the players all love him. So, Oakland was pretty upset they didn't go after Steven because he was there for a while, even though they have a manager. But he probably would have been a good guy to have. But I don't mind Scott Service. So, yeah.
All right, and we know there's the Ohtani sweepstakes. Sean posted it in our Twitter chat that rip Mariners. Sean, why don't you explain?
Well, so I think the Mariners' shots is, so as everybody knows, the first time around he wanted to be on the West Coast and didn't take the most money. So I was like, hey, that's our shot this time. Not taking the most money because the Mariners were the highest bidder first time around. Just FYI. I was hoping he'd want to stay comfortable. Like, hey, the money's not all about it. You want to be comfortable, be West Coast. Immediately came out that he doesn't necessarily need to be West Coast. F that. And money will play a factor, but it is not the deciding factor. And there was one other thing that was in there too. I can't remember the third reason.
I'm guessing good team or playoff team?
Yeah, it's an established team. And while the Mariners we think are a good team, the issue is why wouldn't you just pick the Dodgers then? You know what I mean? Like if you're comparing the Mariners to the Dodgers, well, I mean, the Dodgers just go every year. You know what I mean? So it's if the Mariners had maybe made the playoffs one more time, it'd probably look a lot better to Ohtani. And now Ohtani could clearly look at it and be like, look, the Mariners are right there. But still, if the Mariners and the Dodgers are within $1 million, and they're well, he's the Dodgers, and it's West Coast. So I'm just I was hoping he'd be I'm feeling more vibesy because he's gonna make $400 million anyways. And it was not the case.
All right. Well, so rip Mariners. I mean, if you had your hopes up, burn it down. Burn it down right now.
10%, but yeah, I was feeling a lot better when he's West Coast only because that limits the teams that he wanted to play for.
First of all, Shohei knows West Coast, best coast. We already know that. So
no, he didn't because he said no to that. So
he'll
rip Mariners.
I'm betting he ends up on the West Coast. I'll bet you $10 right now he ends up on the West Coast. East of Kansas City. I'll bet you that. Or west of Kansas City.
Did I say east? I was going to say, I'll take the east of Kansas City.
Sorry, west of Kansas
City. I'm guessing he will stay in a Western Conference team, and God help us that it's not the Astros.
I don't think it's the Astros. I also don't think it's the Rangers either. The Rangers are being a lot of play with him. I think, I heard a lot of people were saying the Giants are kind of sneaky because they want to spend some money. I just don't think they're the winning check mark there. I mean, all the check marks lean Dodgers, but
Dodgers and Padres just make the most sense.
Padres are cutting.
I don't
payroll.
see him.
I
would be shocked if he left California, honestly. But
if Matthew's correct and it's West Coast, it is between two teams, and I think that's it. Mariners, Dodgers. That's it. Because the Giants aren't winning anything even with him. It's just the Angels all over. Angels obviously not.
Compare the okay. What you said, money. Okay,
going to Oakland. Got it.
Dodgers can spend more.
Oh my gosh, I'd be all for it. Honestly, at this point, if he just went to Oakland, I'd be burn it all down, Ohtani. Do whatever you're gonna do. Go to Oakland.
Okay.
What does this just raise our we're gonna do analytics. Be damned, we're just gonna pay Ohtani, and they just pay Ohtani. The Rays just have Ohtani.
Okay, the Dodgers can pay more money than Mariners. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Uh,
Well, no, they can't. The Mariners could pay just as much. They're just more willing to spend their money.
Okay.
I would say. Yes.
So push depending on ownership.
No, Dodgers have it. You're right. Check.
Okay. So, in terms of competing, Dodgers probably have the advantage of that one.
Yeah.
No state income tax, Washington. So advantage Seattle. What was the other factor he said?
I can't remember what we had a third factor, but I will say you also can commercials, endorsements, LA, check, Seattle, not probably make up that difference in taxes money there.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. You could definitely get on commercials in Seattle, no problem. But you're definitely gonna make more in LA. Absolutely.
I mean, it's LA.
Well, I mean, he's already in LA, so staying
exactly.
in LA.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry.
Use the Ichiro thing. Use Ichiro, please.
Send Ichiro to his house every night for dinner, and then by the end of free agency, he'll be like, "All right, I'm in Seattle. Let's do it."
Well, if you're the Mariners too, who's the kid that Dipoto wants to get from Japan?
Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Get that kid.
Not Jerry wants, like all of baseball wants. Yes.
Well, yeah, I know.
yeah,
I know. But like, as you know, because they've been using Ichiro, get that kid and then use that kid to entice Ohtani to come on over, and then we'll just have fucking pitching up our ass.
If we're gonna do that, let's also trade for Lars Nootbaar, because him and Lars had a really good time at the World Baseball Classic. Just screw it, just whatever makes Ohtani comfortable. I'm fine with it. Whatever it takes. Like, honestly,
if he's wants Ronald McDonald on the sideline, I will.
Like, legitimately, you sign him to a 14-year deal or 10-year deal. He's clearly going to be worth more than $1 billion. Like, he's going to bring in more than $1 billion to you as a franchise.
Yeah.
Like, right? Like, over 10 years. Like, you're doubling your money. Just like, you give him $500 million.
But do you expect Stan to be that smart, though?
Stan, you are a businessman and you want money. Ohtani, the Japan connection is right there. Like, you saw what Ichiro did to this city and this stadium. It's Ohtani. It's Ichiro on crack. Like it's right there. It's right there, Stan. Please, for the love of God, you're going to make your money up. You can't write a big enough check to Ohtani and not make that up. I'll buy 6 jerseys to help cut into that $500 million.
You heard it here first, Stan. You heard it.
I'll buy every alternate jersey. I'll buy whatever one you got. Like
City Connect, white, teal,
but again, like,
blue.
I'll just buy Julio's and Ohtani's, and I'm set for like a decade.
All-star, yeah.
Yeah, I'm set for a decade. Just buy one a year for 10 years. There you go.
All right. Well, outside of Ohtani, let's give one free agent we hope the Mariners take a shot at. I'm going to go first so you don't steal mine. I want Cody Bellinger to hopefully replace Teoscar Hernandez. And then if Jared Kelenic kicks another cooler, then he can also replace Jared Kelenic. So I would like Cody Bellinger, solid left-handed bat, 28. Bring him in. Kevin, who do you think?
Is he a solid left-handed bat?
I think he is.
I'd have to look at free agents because I haven't really. Hold on, popping it up. I don't think we're going to really sign any like big names.
Oh no, I expect nothing.
Your boy Lourdes Gurriel is available. 30 years old.
He's just so like he's so mid.
Spoiler: there are no
pan.
Bats. There are no bats, Kevin. Like, I'm just gonna tell you that
the bats are foam from Pizza Hut.
The third
Kevin.
Best projected bat is Teoscar Hernandez. Like, I'm just like that's what it is. That's what it is.
It's other like than wiffle ball out there. Sean, who do you got?
I mean, Kevin knows I'm not a big Lourdes Gurriel fan. I'm not against bringing Lourdes Gurriel in.
I think he's solid.
He's projected for $14 million. Like, 30 years old. He signed to like a 3-year deal. Like, it's not the end of the world. He makes decent contact compared to like a Jock Peterson or Teoscar Hernandez. I would like probably more JD Martinez, but JD Martinez is only a DH, and that really kind of like limits you. You immediately sign a DH only, and I'm like, oh, gosh, like, you really can't do anything else. So I'd rather have a guy who could play outfield a little bit, like play left field, and have Jared play right field. So I'd probably go. Mine would also be Cody Bellinger, Matthew. I'm willing to take a chance, but he hit like 290 with 2 strikes this year, and his like previous high was like 170. He's going to regress hard. The question is, how hard is he going to regress? And so I mean, you understand paying like how he's a Boris guy. So how much are you going to give him for how long? He's in the middle. He's not as good as he was last year. He's not as bad as he was
You know
a
what?
couple years ago.
I will buy 4 Cody Bellinger jerseys if you sign Cody Bellinger.
Please don't. I will say please don't for you, because that could be horrible.
Nope.
That
You
could
have
be
to
bad.
sign him to more than a 3-year deal for this to be a binding contract, though.
I don't want any part of that. Like, you
Nope.
do that, I am going to stab you, Matthew, into your white Cody Bellinger jersey so it's red. I don't want you're signing Cody Bellinger to a 5-year deal. I'm like losing my mind. Like,
yeah, that's not good.
I don't want any part of that. I don't want 33-year-old Cody Bellinger. There's no way. He's had one good year in like the last 5, and we're not signing a 3-year deal. Like, absolutely not.
All right, Kevin, who you got?
So okay, so there's some couple names here that I wouldn't mind to like very small deals. So the first one that I see is just because we don't know what we have at third base, Justin Turner actually kind of had a better year going in Boston. So it'd be interesting to see
how much is little. Like a like.
Oh, I meant like not like a long-term deal, like a 1 or 2 year.
No. How much money is small?
Oh, freaking. I'm just looking at players. I'm not even going into contract details. I'm just saying players, to like look at. Reese Hawkins is actually a free agent.
That's the one. That's the other one. I was hoping you'd say.
I would totally take Reese Hawkins. Like, I mean, Ty France was butthole this whole past year, so, yeah, I'd put Reese Hoskins at first, or is it Hoskins or Hopkins? Fucking
Hoskins. Reese Hoskins. Yes, I would actually don't mind Reese Hoskins. He'd probably be like, other than like Loris Gurriel and Cody Bellinger, it's Reese Hoskins for me.
Yeah, he's 30. He's a solid at first baseman. He's going to get you 25 to 35 home runs. He's going to hit, 250 on base percentage. Is going to be it's just solid. He's a solid first baseman that's going to do what first basemen do.
I see him as being ARB eligible, unfortunately, though.
I would take JD Martinez just as a guy to put a DH, just as a big boy bat. Just for
Kevin, signing JD Martinez means no Ohtani, right?
Okay.
Okay. I'm just so you know.
Why would it lead to?
Where's JD Martinez going to play than DH?
Oh, I mean, well, yeah. If Ohtani's out of the bag, I'm saying. Which
okay, yeah.
Likely the case, can go get JD.
If we immediately sign JD Martinez, I'm like, oh shit, there goes Ohtani.
Well, no, yeah. Wait until the Ohtani sweepstakes is over. But Matthew, you might want to wrap it up.
Yep. We're gonna be right back after this non-commercial break.
Commercial break.
Commercial.
Okay, commercial break. Welcome back from that really long and lengthy commercial break. I have a cookie now, so I'm very happy right now. That is Sean Beatty. That is Kevin Ardall. That is Nasty Billy 22 on Twitter. That is CSEA2Believe on Twitter. I'm at Beatty_Matt. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos. Dislike our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Let's move on to a sport that's actually going on right now, and it is the Seattle Seahawks. There have been 5 games since we last run the podcast, because we were on the podcast last on the bye week. So I'll just roll down the results real quick. Cincinnati lost 17-13. They beat Arizona 20-10 at home. They played Cleveland at home. They won 24-20. They went to Baltimore and got slaughtered 37-7. And then they hosted Washington this past Sunday and won 29-26. Sean, what have you thought of the Seattle Seahawks in these last 5 weeks?
It's like they're winning games. It's fine. But it hasn't been the most encouraging. I mean, like squeaking it out at home to JP Walker. Thanks.
It's PJ.
Sorry, XFL legend. PJ Walker. Thanks Jamal Adams for your head. It's got better hands than your hands. I mean, it doesn't hit him in the head. The Seahawks don't win, probably. Like, it just makes me nervous. Like, they still have problems with like good football teams. I'll say this about the Baltimore game. Like, obviously, Baltimore is not 34 points better than the Seattle Seahawks. It kind of got off the rails and it just kind of rolled. But clearly, Baltimore, just even from the track record before and after, they're just better than the Seahawks. And I want the Seahawks, we're going to find out here in the next, well, maybe not with the Rams, but like the 4 weeks after that, we're going to find out actually who the Seahawks are. Like, everyone's like, man, we're happy to be 6-3. I'm happy to be 6-3, but like 6-3 and going one and done in the playoffs doesn't mean anything. I want to know how this team's going to do when you play a good team. And right now, you want a coin toss game in Detroit. I'll say probably they were better than Detroit in that game. I'm pretty confident saying they were better. Detroit. It was close, but they were better than Detroit. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow still hurt. They lost. Close game. Cincinnati's probably a little better. Cleveland was better. Close game, but Cleveland was better, and Baltimore was better. So like they played 4 teams, I'd say pretty good. Deshaun Watson plays. They're 1-3. Pretty convincingly 1-3 against good teams. And so I'm a little nervous that like I don't want this just to be a one and done year. I want you to actually build something that could be sustainable, that can be like that we can compete with the teams that matter. And I mean, I'm glad we're beating the Carolinas, the Giants, and the Cardinals, but they're not gonna play in the playoffs. I want to beat teams that can like, really like be in the playoffs. And you get a couple more Detroit style wins, that's fine. But like I don't want somebody to be hurt on the other team for me to like be confident in winning. Like they're like, we can beat the 49ers if 4 people are hurt, or we can beat the Eagles if like AJ Brown and Hurts don't play. Like I don't want us to be that. I want us to be like, okay, this team's healthy, we're healthy, we can go in there and do it. And I'd say I'm happy with our record. Still have no clue who we are as a team, and we won't know until I don't know December till Christmas. We will know by Christmas probably who we are.
I would hope so, because there'll be 2 games left.
There'll be 3 games left.
There'll be 2.
I mean, I can't like by Christmas, the December 24th, right before Tennessee. After the Eagles game, December 17th, we'll know probably who we are. Just don't go 0-4, I guess. You go 0-4, it's a problem.
Kevin?
Yeah. It was not pretty. Definitely. I will say there's some good things and there's some bad things. Going over it, Sean touched on it. Yeah, we've pretty much lost to the good teams and beat the bad teams, with the exception of the Browns, but they were on a backup quarterback. Like there's some flashes and there's some not flashes. I will say for a definite that Geno Smith is not good. Like, sorry, Tolves, like he's just not. Like people are just getting like people don't even watch the games anymore, which is kind of weird. Because like I saw some moron, I think it was yesterday or today, who was like showing his Geno stats. He had like 343 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. His complete. I was just like, okay, one, he got like 69 of those yards from Kenneth Walker just on a 5-yard dump down.
Nice.
He got another 60-70 yards on a preventative defense where DK just got away on 2 different balls, essentially. Tyler Lockett's just a fucking monster. It was a good pass, but Tyler Lockett's just a beast. Essentially, like Geno really didn't show up until like the last drive of the first half, which he screwed up with the whole timing thing. And Pete, of course, was like, I'm going to take responsibility for that, blah, blah, blah. And then until the very last drive, essentially. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, the Tyler Lockett touchdown drive, he was okay, but like Geno's way too inconsistent. He literally now only, like I kind of said last season that he only shows up for a half. He now really only shows up for a quarter a game. And that's just being generous. I don't even think he's there for a full quarter. He's just making really sloppy, terrible mistakes. He holds on to the ball too much, doesn't know when to throw out the ball properly. He should be like not necessarily running it more. He did show that a little bit more this game, which was nice to see. He had a couple of runs or like when the pocket collapsed and like it opened up, he was just like, go, but yeah, terrible throws. Like he missed DK like 4 times, like throwing behind him, throwing above him. Like Geno's just not good, folks. Like everybody was so hyped after his season last year where he was not great. Like, he wasn't terrible last season, but he wasn't great last season either. But like, people just see, and he got us to a 9-8 record. Like, people are acting like he got us to like the Super Bowl on a 13-3 record. But let's be honest, he was average. He was a little bit above average last season, and now he's a little bit below average. Just not really good decision making. Yeah. Defensively, I will say there is some promise there, minus the whole fact that we pretty much gave up, what was it, 24 points to a really bad Commanders team. Yeah,
26 to a Commanders.
26. So yeah, 26 points to a really bad Commanders team. You gave up 27 points to a Andy Dalton led Panthers. You let PJ Walker, an XFL legend, kind of poop on you and make that game close. You let Josh Dobbs. I mean, and honestly, there were some times I remember in the game, like Josh Dobbs could have gotten some more things than he did, but unfortunately, Arizona just doesn't really have the weaponry. Now he has.
That's putting that very nicely, Kevin.
Yeah.
Arizona doesn't have weapons. That's a very nice way to say they totally.
Now he does over in Minnesota. So that, well, other than this week is Justin Jefferson's out, but yeah, it's I'm liking what I'm seeing a little bit more of the secondary. Witherspoon's had some solid stuff. He's had some stuff that was kind of just given to him that 12's way overreact to, of course. But I mean, I like what I'm seeing from his eyes and the way what he does with his body on each play, coverage. He's kind of always there. He's putting his hips in the right place as he's following the receiver on most of it. I mean, there's some plays where he doesn't, but like for a rookie, like he's playing very well. Reeks kind of regressed a little bit, but is still playing solid enough to where you don't really notice it. I think people are going to probably take advantage of that more later on the season. We'll find out what Reek's made of. Front seven, Bobby is still legit. Of course, I mean, for an old, he's a good middle linebacker. For his age, there's nothing to be said
for an old man.
For an old man, Bobby's solid. Boye Mafe kind of emerged a little bit with the sack. I like to see a little bit. He's getting a little. He had a little Frank Clark moment where he over pursued this past game on one and got bitten in the butt for it. Frank Clark, I love how we pick up Frank Clark and then we just don't use Frank Clark because I think we realize that Frank Clark kind of sucks butt.
I was gonna say I think Frank just sucks at football.
And so they're just like, we're just gonna use you when somebody gets hurt. And then they go get Leonard Williams after that because they played Frank Clark for 1 week and they're like, oh yeah, we forgot he sucks. He's really bad. So he's like, let's go get Leonard Williams. Yeah, Leonard Williams, I haven't got to watch all the tape, but the little tape that I saw Leonard Williams was, good. It was Leonard Williams. Got the sack, good run stopping. I will say Draymond Jones got a little bit better, especially with the run stopping. If only we could just learn to stop running backs when they're getting passed to and check downs, that'd be good, But other than that, there is some sloppy tackling that needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Jamal Adams is still a little hyper kid on sugar that kind of needs to be toned down a little bit, but his little soccer play was kind of adorable that led to the interception 2 games ago or 3 games ago. Is it the Arizona game? I think it was the Arizona game. They got embarrassed by the Baltimore Ravens, but I mean, Baltimore is a really good team. Probably shouldn't have given up as many points as they did, but when offense just doesn't help you at all, there's not really much you get tired. It's a balance. It's both sides have got to work in order to to function. As a whole, yeah. I've been liking. I've been seeing out of Chardonnay a little bit more. I think he should probably get more reps. Probably maybe
fine wine, baby.
And then get Kenny Pickett in there. Gosh darn it, he's back. Get him in there. He's a sexy
Kenny
beast.
Pickett, Kenny McIntosh.
Or McIntosh, not Pickett. Sorry. Freaking.
I mean,
No
Kenny
Steelers
Pickett might be able to
quarterback.
run it better than he throws it, so
Yeah.
there's that.
No
maybe.
Steelers quarterback. Sorry. Kenny McIntosh. Get his butt in there. He's like literally the Trolls don't even know what they have yet. Like if you think Charbonnet and freaking K9 are ridiculous, this kid is
He has been by far the better running back, and it's not even close. Zach Charbonnet.
But unfortunately, even though Pete says he specializes on running backs, Pete's a moron, and probably won't play him. So sad. Yeah. But other than that, we're definitely going to find out here in the next 5 weeks, as Sean mentioned, what this team is made of, and I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of sadness. I mean, if we can barely just beat a very terrible Washington Commanders team that traded two of their best defensive players, like,
I mean, I think you're right. I think there is, yes, if they play like this, they're probably going to lose to the Rams if they play like this. The problem is I think there is more in this team to maybe put up a fight to like. That's the thing. I think I see more talent. Like Gino has been bad, but Gino can play better. Like we can run the ball better, but like we have to start doing it. We're running out of weeks to like get there. We have to start doing it now. You cannot play like you played the first 9 games and win these next 5 games.
That was another thing I was going to mention really quickly too. Shane Waldron is not been Shane Waldron lately. Our offense is predictable as shit. Like it's super predictable. Like you need to spice up that stuff really badly. I don't know if that's just Pete on him being ornery. Like we have very diverse running backs and we're just doing power runs, like which can work if the gap's open, but like no. Like just do. There's so many times where we like they did it twice, and they finally did give it to Lockett on that jet sweep. They bluffed it twice before, and I literally watched Tyler just go unabated to the friggin' sideline because nobody believed it. And I'm like, just give it to Tyler on one of them, and they give it to Tyler, and he gets a first down. I was just like, holy shit! Somebody up there is paying attention. Sorry for my language, but I was just like. Like that alone should show you how predictable you are, Pete. Like they know you're going to go to the power run because you're addicted to that crap. You're just like, I love strong running backs going.
Well, I think like you need to understand, like Charbonnet is really good at that. Charbonnet is like he's a power run guy. He's not going to go to the outside. He's a power run guy. And I think Kenneth Walker needs to do more of that stuff because his problem was bouncing everything and losing a bunch of yards and just run in the hole. If you could bounce one, you could bounce one, but don't bounce everything. Take the 4 yards, Kenneth Walker. And he's been doing that. The problem just is like when he does that, he's not breaking the long runs. And that's basically where most of his value comes from. If he doesn't have that long, crazy value, he's just been like a fine running back. And he's been a lot better than last year, but there's no real boom or bust now. It's just he is who he is now.
The solution, you feed Kenny McIntosh.
The solution is you give Charbonnet a lot more touches. Charbonnet, here's an advanced metric.
I know
Charbonnet,
Kevin called him Chardonnay. Can we just call him Chardonnay?
Yeah, Chardonnay.
Okay. All right.
Zach has less than 40 carries on the year, and Kenneth Walker has more than 140 carries. Zach has exactly half of the value added to the Sharks, the Seahawks, as Kenny does. Or I gotta say Kenneth because now we also have a Kenny on more than 100 less carries. Like Zach has clearly been the more efficient running back, and definitely deserves to be cutting into Kenneth Walker's touches. Like he has to be. He has, and that's Kenneth, and that is points added with Kenneth Walker getting all the goal line touches too. Like Zach has been clearly a better running back, and he just needs to get more touches. Pete, he needs to get more touches. I mean, simple, like really bad stats. He's averaging more than a yard a carry, 1.5 yards a carry more than Kenneth Walker. Now that will come down with more touches, but like hand him the ball more. Like you need to hand him the ball more.
And also disguise your plays a little bit better. I mean, when you see 3 tight ends line up just hugging the tackle's butthole, you kind of know it's a power run. Like,
I'll say this: Kenneth Walker in space, fantastic. I called the touchdown. I said, "Look, they're like everyone's like run it." Like, no, you can't run it. Running's not working. Stop running it into Washington. If anything, Washington still has on defense, it's tackles. Like they have defensive tackles. Payne is like an absolute monster. Do not run it at him. I was like, what you do is you get guys downfield and you run behind them. And he dumped it off to Kenneth Walker. And Kenneth Walker is shifty. And all you got to do is give him space and let the linebackers be downfield. And he's going to make some guys miss. And then he made guys miss. I didn't think he was going to turn to 60 yards on a touchdown. But you let guys run downfield, take defenders with him, dump it off to Kenneth Walker. Kevin, you got me saying it now, damn it. And then he's gonna make guys miss. Give him space. But like, I don't want to see Zach catching passes out of the backfield. I want to see Kenneth Walker in space.
Well, I want to see McIntosh catching passes.
Okay, you can
I want
ask
them
for
all to
McIntosh.
catch passes,
Kenneth Walker has been fine. Like I'm not bad at Kenneth Walker. Zach has just been really way more efficient, and Kenneth Walker has fixed the problem that I wanted him last year was stop cutting everything outside, because once every 3 weeks you're going to turn that into an 80-yard touchdown, but more often than not you're going to lose us 2 yards every time. And stop doing that, because it's not worth the boom. It's not worth the risk reward. He was very bad last year. Like in general, he's a very bad running back. Now this year he's been a much better running back. He's taking the advantage. It's just like I thought it would come with still a little bit of that boom, and the boom's not there now. So if it takes that risk reward, it's not worth it. If this is who he is, it's fine, but it's still that boom's never coming back. I don't know if in the running game. I mean, we're 9 weeks into it, and he made the improvement I wanted. So what am I really complaining about? But still, like I want him to bust a couple of those long ones between the tackles, and then I'll be like, this is a dude. But Zach Charbonnet has busted. Like he had 2 12-yard runs yesterday, and like the 4 carries he got, like kind of want to see him between the tackles. And so please make it more 50-50. Okay, 40-40, and then we'll give Kenny some touches. How about that, Kevin? There we go. We'll get Kenny
with McIntosh getting 40, right?
Yes, with McIntosh getting to 80.
And you mash the 40 together, and he gets 80.
You give K9 the 20.
He gets 80, and the other two get 10 each. Got it.
Yeah, that's fine.
There we go. That's
all right. So I'll roll down the games. The Cincinnati game, it was like when you have to poop, but it won't come out. That was what that game was like. Like they were at the goal line with a chance to win, and it was just painful. So like they went into Cincinnati, had a chance to win, and just couldn't get it done. Joe Burrow is fine. Like if he's out there, I don't care if he's hurt or not. I mean, Arizona, it doesn't. Arizona,
yes, it does.
No,
it absolutely does. That is, it does.
Yeah.
Arizona, I was there in the 300 level. That was the Bobo game, the toe tap, which was called not a touchdown at first, but then Jake Bobo had those toes in, and that was a touchdown. It wasn't a great game. They like Gino threw 2 picks. There were people in front of my dad and I yelling for Drew Lock to be put in the game.
That's absurd. I don't like people were asking for Drew Lock is absurd. Drew Lock sucks. Yeah. Like you need to really understand that. He is terrible.
And like he just like the entire second half after the second Gino interception, he just kept yelling it. So it was pretty funny, but they ended up winning the game. And like Kevin said, Josh Dobbs played fine. Like there were a bunch of drops by like Zach Ertz and Rondale Moore.
Because the Cardinals are terrible, not because Josh Dobbs is terrible. Because like if that was a competent team, the Seahawks probably lose that game, but they're not. So
maybe.
I know it's bad.
Maybe. And then the Cleveland game, I was able to watch most of that. First of all, those jerseys look great. You guys haven't mentioned that yet, but those jerseys look fire. Love them, and they're wearing them again against Dallas on November 30th. So that's going to be awesome. This is a PJ Walker who beat the San Francisco 49ers. So, I mean, you guys can knock him if you want to, but the Seahawks beat them, and I'm happy with it. I was able to watch most of that game, so that was good to have them be able to come back and have the opportunity to win the game, unlike they did against Cincinnati. Baltimore, man, that was bad. That was just bad all around. I turned it off in like the third quarter when they were up like 27 to something. I just stopped watching. I was playing board game with the friends anyway, so it was perfect. And then last game, I was able to watch most of the second half. The Seahawks looked fine. And Gino had the opportunity again to win the game, and he came through. So he's been good enough, I would say. I wouldn't say good. Good enough is the phrase I would use. I agree with Kevin. The inconsistency is just like the Rams game, like just got nothing. Baltimore game just got nothing. But like there are times where Gino shows flashes, like the Detroit game where they're shooting out, like he was good there. Like he kept his composure. The game against Washington, he got the opportunity, was able to capitalize on the opportunity. Same with the Cleveland game. So But then there were those games like the Arizona game I was there, like he didn't play well. They ended up winning, but a win is a win, but those performances are just not going to cut it when you're playing against some of these better teams coming up. So like you guys have already said, we're going to see how good they are going through these games the next 5 weeks. If they've got LA, I'm going to be at the Thanksgiving game, so we'll see how that goes. Then we got at Dallas, at San Francisco, and then hosting Philadelphia. So those are going to be some key games for the Seahawks. And, I saw the playoff percentage. I don't really care about that because, it's very fickle. And these next 5 games, I could see them losing all 5 games. Like I could see them losing all 5 games. I could see them winning 4 of them, but it is a crapshoot. It is really like rolling the dice and seeing what happens. Yeah. So like we'll see.
I can't see them winning 4 of them. I can see them losing.
I'll take 5. Maybe 3, but yeah, maybe 3.
So we'll see how they do in these next 5 games. But overall, sitting at 6-3, tied for the division lead. It hasn't been great. So to be sitting in that position is phenomenal. So we'll see how they do with this opportunity that they have in front of them. But overall, it's good enough. It's like when Russ was here, it was good enough. It wasn't amazing for the most part. It was good enough. So that is enough to win games, get into the playoffs, and see what happens. So
well, I mean, yeah, but they're doing it differently than when Russ was here.
Yeah, completely different.
How so?
Russell's worst ranking, worst offense he led was the 7th ranked offense in the NFL.
Like
where are they now?
The opposite, as in the defense was good enough when Russell was here. Like it was a Russell-led team.
Like I mean, like the
I mean, not in the early years. Not in the early.
Well, I'm not talking about the early years. I'm talking about like the last 4 years.
Well,
like,
Russell was still really good in the early years,
and those were the years that you guys complained the whole time they only won 1 playoff game. So I mean, what are we really talking about here?
Well, I just had it. Where did it go?
Gino, like there's that meme where it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. Oh my god, we won. There's no difference between Russ and Gino at this point. Like,
there's a big
none.
difference.
It's the same meme. It applies to both. Like I don't see how you guys see a difference.
Hold on.
Well, I'm not saying defend it, but I will say with the LOB, the Seahawks averaged 10 wins. With Russell without the LB, they averaged 11. I'm just gonna say that. They won more games without.
What about playoff wins?
Call a good game, Pete. You got to give him the ball. That was the issue I had with him.
So Matt, if Gino and Russ are the same way, then how come the week of Halloween Russ was top 4 in 6 quarterback categories?
Okay, no, I'll say this. And a national
4 and 5 quarterback, is that what you're talking about?
So in quarterback going into Halloween,
Russell's been better than Gino this year. Like that's not a debate. Like it's just what it is. Like teams play this game.
Okay,
teams play this game.
I'm going to give you this, Matt. Before the Halloween week, Russell was number 2 in quarterbacks in pass TD to interception ratio. He was 4th in passing TDs. He was 1st in passing TDs per attempt. And then passer rating, he was 4th of quarterbacks, and 4th quarter comebacks, he was 1st. Gino is nowhere fucking near that.
Gino, among like stats, is probably like between 15 and 19th best quarterback in football, and Russell's between, let me sort these, depending on the stats, 12th to 9th. Yeah.
And that's
cool.
And that's what the Denver team was struggling offensively. I mean, with pieces, not Russ, O-line, and then weapons.
Like
sure. I don't buy it, but sure.
I mean, that's what it is. It's not for you to buy. It doesn't matter.
It's
like honestly, it doesn't really matter. It's what it is. So
and
like then like the win-loss comes down to like there's a lot of factors going on. The worst defense of all time in 5 weeks. Like it's just what it is. They're 6-3 without that. So it's what it is. And take it. It's fine. It's fine. Like, but it's what it is. There's the process, not the results. It's what how you get there.
Yeah, totally.
It is. The process leads to results.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Any other observations you guys want to make outside of the Seahawks so far? CJ Stroud does look very good. I will say that.
Yeah, that's process. Draft quarterbacks high. Boom, right there. Right there. There you go. Good.
Totally.
Have a good process. Have a good process.
Yeah. And the Miami Dolphins pick, still very confident in that. I brought up your guys' playoff picks. Are you still confident in some of these. Mine, there are a couple that are just god awful. I
I'm
went with the
confident.
Bears. Woo! Oh man, not good.
I'm confident. Draft Tua, quarterback's high. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, good. Have a good coach. Yeah.
The only one I'm not confident on the playoff pick is the Bills. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Bills right now.
Okay, well, I'll say this: the Bills are the Vikings last year, or not the opposite of the Vikings. They're the 8th best team in football. They're just not getting. They're not getting the bounces here. Like, they're just not. They're the 3rd best offense in football. I don't know why they fired Ken Dorsey.
Yeah, their defense is not playing up to what
they're not even they're not even a terrible defense. Yeah,
I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying they should be better.
I mean, they're the 21st ranked defense. It's clearly their Achilles heel, but like, it's just sometimes it's random variance. Like, it just happens. Sometimes you're gonna lose games you should win. Like, it just happens. Minnesota Vikings were a terrible football team last year, and they won 13 games. They're a terrible team, and they're playing better with Josh Dobbs. So that's a.
I'll say they were okay to good on offense.
They were a 7-win. They were a 7-win team last year that won 13 games because of bounces. And
does anybody think the Bills aren't going to bounce back? Does anybody think they're going to miss playoffs?
No,
I don't.
The issue is the Bills will bounce back. They just have a nightmare of a schedule left. Is the problem? Like, let's look at this, Matthew. Like, they have the Seahawks have the toughest, second toughest or toughest schedule, and the Bills are like right there. I can't remember which one it is. I don't know who's 1 and 2.
They're probably.
But they go Jets, and they go Eagles, Kansas City, Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. They have 2 easy games left.
And they got lucky that Aaron Rodgers is not there.
Yeah, they Jets, Patriots. That's it. Like, the rest of the way. Like, they're 5-5 and play 2 teams who aren't good.
Like balls. Yeah. Even though the Jets defense is really good.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, the Jets have pieces. Like, they don't suck balls, but the Jets aren't like
Zach Wilson sucks ass.
Yeah, they're not like, oh my gosh, if they got hot and won a bunch of games.
Yeah. No, they have a solid team. It's just their quarterback right now is literally toilet paper.
Maybe their offensive coordinator also sucks ass. Maybe, who knows? But
that too.
I'm surprised they didn't trade for somebody or sign somebody. I thought they would have made a move.
I will say that people are already Victor Lappin, Daniel.
They should have done the job.
Daniel Hackett is being terrible, and I don't think that Daniel Hackett's a very good OC, but like, it is Zach Wilson. So let's just keep that in mind when we talk about that, because like, Zach Wilson is like just a dumpster fire. Like, it's just not.
Number 2 pick, Sean. Process.
Don't draft Zach. Don't. There you go. Who was drafted in front of him?
Trevor Lawrence.
There you go. They're doing
results, baby.
There you go. Playing well. Results. Year before, who was drafted first? Joe Burrow. Results. Get it done. Draft high quarterbacks. What they should be doing is cutting their losses and draft another one. Draft me.
We just got very lucky that we drafted Russell in the 3rd, and that's just because people were fucking stupid.
That also, like, because like, quarterbacks have gone up, the value just goes up. You're just you're not gonna be really finding 3rd round.
If they just to show you how important they are, Matt, is literally at every position that team is essentially stacked. The Jets, like, they're very, very,
very good. That defense is like,
other than quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't get hurt, like, they're competing with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I've been very like impressed with like how good that defense has been. Like, that defense is like legit.
It's super good. If Aaron Rodgers should be smart and sign like play next year, because I know
he has the number 1 ranked quarterback on Pro Football Focus is Jared Goff.
There you go. Number 1 pick.
Process, baby.
Was it number 2? Number 1. He was number 1.
He was 1.
Yeah, he was 1. Yeah. It's the guy that
I can't wait to see
too.
Man, we should be getting Ben Johnson be our coach, because he turned Jared Goff good. So
sometimes
Jared Goff,
right coach.
Jared Goff right next to Russell Wilson in EPA per play. Look at that. Right next to each other. 8 and 9. It's weird. I have to scroll down and find Geno Smith. Yeah. Josh Allen. Josh Allen is like the 2nd best player in football right now, and would probably be the front runner to win the MVP.
But Stephon Diggs his butthole. Stephon Diggs his butthole.
No,
Trayvon Diggs said Stephon needs to get out of there.
Yeah, Trayvon. I don't think Stephon's going to say that. I think Diggs knows where his bread's buttered. He played with some not so good. Who is the guy the Minnesota Miracle who threw the ball?
Case
Jesus.
Keenum.
Case Keenum. Yeah, he played with Case Keenum. I think he's very content with playing with Josh Allen. Like, despite like random stuff that's happening right now, Josh Allen. Yeah. Man, Kyle Shanahan.
All right, we're running low on time. We've got Seattle at Los Angeles Rams, 1:25 p.m. on CBS. Normally NFC's on Fox. I do have Paramount Plus only for the football season, so we'll take it. I don't have a line here, but let's make some predictions. Kevin.
Oh, wait, time out. Isn't there a game on Peacock only later coming up this year?
Is there?
I think there is. I think it's like a decent game
Oh,
too.
why? Probably like Sunday night, and they're just gonna like make
We
it
really need to
exclusive or
stop with
something.
these
I think it's like
exclusives.
Kansas City versus like somebody. Oh gosh, who was it? I'll find it. But yeah, keep going. Sorry, Kevin.
Okay. It's supposedly Mr. Stafford's supposed to be back for this game. Now it will really depend on how healthy Stafford is. It is really it. If Stafford's healthy, we're losing. It's going to be
he's not going to be 100%. That's for sure.
Yeah, I know. It just depends, like I said, on how healthy. If he's 80 to 85% or above, we're losing. If it's below that, it's going to be close.
Bengals Steelers week 16 Peacock game.
Oh, well, Steelers are kind of level.
At least it's the Steelers. They're purpose to watch.
Speaking of unluckiest Bills, second luckiest team of all time, Pittsburgh Steelers. Been outgained at every single game. Every single game.
Fun differential?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. Like, have you seen them play a football game? Like, it is just like
I have.
Horrible.
I traded Deontay Johnson in the fantasy league. I couldn't take it anymore.
They gained 3 yards in a half and won the game and scored more points in that half than they did in the first half. Like, it was just like, what is happening? Like, it's like the craziest thing. I don't understand. But yeah.
Anyway, all right, sorry, Kevin, we're running out of time. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, I honestly, I think Stafford's just going to be well enough to where they're just going to take advantage. Aaron Donald's just going to go ham on them. Actually, no, they kind of blocked Aaron Donald last time pretty decently. Though with tape and with the O-line mix up too, I think Aaron Donald's going to eat a little bit more. I'm going to say Gino's only going to show up for 1 quarter, so it'll just depend what quarter he shows up for. I'm going to say 30-21 Rams.
Sean?
I think the Seahawks win. I don't think Stafford's healthy. I think they're going to win by 4 because the Seahawks can't have nice things as Seahawks fans. We'll be 7-4 with a positive 3-point differential. That's totally sustainable and totally real. I say 27-24.
I want to pick the Seahawks, but after that first week, I just can't. I can't do it. I'm going to take the Rams 24-23. I want to pick the Seahawks. They can win this game regardless of Stafford's health. I can't do it. I can't do it.
If they lose 24, this game,
23.
If they lose this game, my hope of anything more than a one and done in the playoffs is probably over. Like, I'm probably like done with like I'm like, oh God. Like, if they can't beat the Rams and they go 49ers, Cowboys, 49ers, Eagles. I don't want to say it's a big game. I think these Washington Rams game were huge games for like making the playoffs and cementing your playoff spot. Cause like you got to get these two. You got to be 7-3 because you can realistically, like we said, be 7-7. Then you play the Titans, which with Will is a better option, like, or not with Ryan Tannehill, playing Will Levis is like at least like gives you some like because they just got nothing out there. Like, got no weapons, got no nothing. The Steelers, I honestly, the Seahawks are the better team, but like
Steelers are just nasty.
They're not even nasty. They're just like shit happens, and it's just like, what happened?
Like they just go out there and they're like,
we should have pooped on Washington, and we won by 3 at the last second.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, it's gonna be like one of the
better team, but like Pittsburgh, like it's just like it doesn't make sense, like how they're winning football games, like, and I don't think even Pittsburgh knows. They're just getting there and like, I don't know. It's like it happened. Like, I don't know. We got outgained by 200 yards and 1 today. I don't know. Like, it's. Yeah, like I saw a stat that like they're the only team that's been outgained by in all 9 of their first games and has more than 2 wins. And they have 6. Like, they're like 4 games better than they should be. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, just like, I guess keep rolling with it. But like when they play the Steelers, it's just like they're 6-3, but they're not really 6-3, so I don't buy it. So like, let's say they do that, they go 7-7, 10 wins. If they beat the Rams, it's still doable. If they don't beat the Rams, what, 9 wins?
All right.
Thank God the NFC is just dumpster fire, and there's no one that's going to threaten them because it's a joke of a
Quick
conference.
NFC West game predictions. We've got Tampa Bay at San Francisco. Is that a unanimous 49ers?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. We have Arizona at Houston. That is interesting. I love me some Kyler Murray. I'm taking the Cardinals. I'm taking Kyler Murray. Can't do it. I have to do it. I have to.
CJ Stroud is like, he's a dude. Like, he's a dude. It's weird when drafting the most important position really high and getting a good one to like completely change your franchise in 1 year. Like, it's weird how that works. Yeah, I think they win. I think Houston wins. I think Houston wins by like 12. Like, yeah, I don't think it's gonna be close. I think Houston's gonna.
Oh, I think it's gonna be a little bit closer because, even though they both have like quarterbacks that are kind of elusive and can run, it's just what is glaring holes for both those teams is a hot dog shit defense. I think it's gonna be I think there's gonna be a lot of points.
Give me those Kyler Murray fantasy points, please.
Kyler. Who's Kyler throwing it to that I even care about?
I don't think
Kyler's
throwing. I
by
think Kyler's
Hollywood
running.
Brown, Rondale Moore, Michael Wilson. Let's go.
You just named a bunch of nobodies. like a bunch of nobodies.
Marquise Brown will have some weird bullcrap game. Is probably what will happen. We're less than a minute. I'm gonna say Cardinals by 3. It'll be like 35-32.
I'm taking Nico and Tank that all day.
All right. Well, let us know what your predictions of the Seahawks-Rams game are. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Mariners and MLB. Sean is at Nasty Billy 22, and Kevin is at C2Believe, SEA2Believe. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Like our videos. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Probably going to be off next week for the Thanksgiving holiday, but we will hopefully be back next week afterwards.
We're bringing it back full circle. Case Keenum's the third string quarterback there. There you go. Boom.
Whoa.
Boom. Brought it back.